So this is part 5 of the mosaic video for the 18-inch salmon medallion I'm doing. Where am I here? So I have started to take and trace out my patterns. As you can see here, my my G pattern for going over this green granite here. A lot of them are really skinny, and when you cut them out really thin like this, they have a tendency to curl and whatnot. So when I'm marking them out, I like to tape them down. That way you're not stretching your pattern at all when you're tracing it. Because if you stretch your pattern and trace it and then you go to all that time to cut it out, it's not going to fit in your puzzle and you're going to be one bum tile setter. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of times, you know, with you know, like maybe this shape here, I won't take the time to tape it. I'll just pinch it with one finger, trace the whole thing, and go back and finish it. But you find your own way to do it. And every tile, every stone's different. One thing you got to think about: this granite's pretty good, but you gotta look at the back and you gotta read the back of them for cracks and whatnot. So you're not laying your tile that you want to cut over a crack, and then you go to the time to cut it out and it falls apart. So that's something to think about. Something more to think about, like on this travertine here. As you can see here, I've got this beautiful vein going through here, and I marked it. But if you look on the back side of that vein, there's a crack that goes down the whole way right there. So I don't want any of my tiles to lay on that crack. So I marked it off. I made sure that this was the solid side over here. This is where I traced out all my tiles, and then I've got them all traced on this side too. And then as you can see, when I flip it over, as I'm tracing them, there we go, you can see it. There's numbers on the back of every tile, 15, 8, 5, and I'll put a little dot under the number. I got 2 5s. Looks like I got 2 5s. Anyways, I'll put a little dot under the number just so it's easier to read when I'm looking at the tile when it's all said and done. So, you know, sometimes the little ones are hard to put the number on the back, so I'll just touch the middle of the tile like this with my finger, and it's going to be hard to do holding my phone and the tile, but then I'll put my other finger on the other side of it. Oh, can't do it if you follow me, and then you can look at both fingers and up and down this way, and then you'll know where the center of that tile is, and then you can put your number there. So that's an easy way to go about it. If you get too small of tiles, like little teeny tiny tiles, what I'll do is I'll rip strips like this right here, and then I'll put the little tiles on the strips, and then it's easy to flip them and write the number on the back. I'm not using this tile in this job, this is from the last one, but that's a good example. So after I've got everything traced, I'm just about done tracing. What happens when you run granite through the saw, or marble or porcelain or anything like that, with a glossy surface, and you've got Sharpie on there? Yeah, it's gonna blast off, right? You're gonna lose your line. So what I'll do in a case like that, I don't need to do it with the travertine because the travertine will hold the ink. This porcelain here and the granite and the marble will all blow the ink. So what I do is I take this carpet shield. It's a 2 foot wide roll of pretty much like glorified masking tape. I use it a lot. I'll stick my framing square on it so I can pull it out and it won't crinkle and wrinkle on me, and then I can put a nice flat layer of the clear plastic over the top, iron it out with my hands, and then cut the tiles apart, and then you can cut all your shapes out without losing your line. So that's my secret to doing that. I've taped this black galaxy here with blue masking tape and then traced over it because it's hard to see black ink on black tile. So that's another little trick, and then that's gonna get taped too with the clear film, because cutting that out, that's not that hard of a shape, that little circle, but if it was a little more elaborate, the blue is going to start to peel on me and I'm going to lose my line, and then I have to start over. So yeah, that's the process. One thing else I wanted to show you here, you can see on this blue water tile here, which is this one. Anyways, that's a wood grain porcelain, so I want all of the grain to kind of be going the same direction, circular around it. So they're not, so they're all, so it looks uniform. So when I take my templates, you can see on that one there, I just kind of sketched in the lines really loosely, just so I know which direction I want the grain to go. And that way when you're laying it out, you can have your grain going that direction. So then when it's cut and installed, you should have that circular grain going on, and it should look pretty spiffy. So anyhow, I'm gonna take this next step here, turn this off, and we will be looking forward to part 6, I think.